Enquanto você ouve suas músicas e podcasts favoritos, deixa eu te perguntar, você já sabe da novidade do ano? Chegou a nova Fiat Titano. A nova picape da Fiat faz bonito nos terrenos mais desafiadores. Performance com motor turbo diesel 4x4 e câmera 360 graus off-road, que ajudam você a ultrapassar qualquer obstáculo. Sem falar que ela tem a maior caçamba da categoria. Tá esperando o que para conhecer? Nova Fiat Titano, chegou a sua vez de fazer história. Paz no trânsito começa por você.
Well, joining us now is President Trump's pollster, great political guru, John McLaughlin. John, your reaction to what we all witnessed tonight?
Well, considering that Biden was the one who challenged us to debate, and he set the rules with CNN, they controlled the mics, they controlled the questionnaire, and the CNN moderators were not known to be friendly to President Trump, to say the least. But it turned out great because President Trump was ready, and President Biden, no matter how he tried to sugarcoat his record or try to, in some alternative universe say things were good, he just can't tell the American people that anymore. We published a story today in Newsmax about our latest poll where the voters were already turning off Joe Biden, and they're ready to go back to Donald Trump. Donald Trump's ahead in the polls. He's ahead in our polls, 46-44 over Joe Biden. That was before the debate as of yesterday. He's ahead of Kamala Harris, 47-42. That was yesterday before the debate. And Democrats are in a real panic right now because Donald Trump was a good president, but he's demonstrating with determination and fortitude, and he wants to be a great president. He wants to come back and be a better president, restore the economy, restore peace in the world, lower crime, keep people safe, fix the border. And that's what people want to hear. Because in our article we mentioned today, the voters don't want to hear about Joe Biden or Donald Trump. And by the way, it's very hard for me to tell Donald Trump that. They want to hear about what you're going to do to make their lives better. The number one issue in the country is inflation. 84% of all voters in this poll said inflation has impacted them negatively.
And by the way, Joe Biden tried to spin it tonight like it's President Trump's fault, but it wasn't. His message wasn't effective. His points weren't effective. And his style wasn't effective. He didn't say anything how he was going to fix the country. And he didn't seem to take any responsibility for the mess we're in. I felt from Joe Biden, there was no sort of introspection whatsoever, John McLaughlin.
No, they keep on saying they should fact check Trump, and they keep accusing him of lying. And President Trump's facts were right on. I mean, I've been with him on the campaign trail. He does like multiple rallies in a day. He does interviews all day. He's like really sharp and in command, and he's determined to win. And the things they've thrown at him, think about this. I mean, everybody knew he was a strong president, but last year when he was ahead in the polls, because we went ahead in the polls when Biden kicked off inflation, then surrendered Afghanistan. We've been leading in the popular vote, something we never did in 2016 or 2020. It was always an electoral battleground state play. But we went ahead when Biden surrendered Afghanistan, and we've been leading ever since. And I told President Trump last year when he was being indicted by Alvin Bragg, with the guys from Biden's Justice Department and Fani Willis, I said, the only crime you've committed is you're ahead in the polls. And and America gets it. Like, they know 6 out of 10 voters tell us this is all politics. They know Biden's behind it. They know 54-31. They told us in a poll as of yesterday, Biden's trying to stop Trump from being president by putting him in jail. And people have had it. They're angry. They want inflation to go down. They want to go back to peace and prosperity. They don't want to have to worry about all these murders across the country. There was one tonight. Today, there was an arrest in Syracuse of, actually, the guy turned himself in Rockland
I saw
County.
that. It was a migrant. I saw that.
He was an Ecuadorian migrant here, Joe Biden's asylum program, and he killed a young woman on her 21st birthday and buried her body in a park in Syracuse. And, you've got a Democrat up there, the state senator Mannion, who was attacking Republicans for being intolerant and ignorant because we didn't want to accept, be a sanctuary state and accept these illegal immigrants and criminals. And President Biden, he just didn't have any good answers. And President Trump, it was like at some point, if it was a boxing match, you'd be begging the ref to throw in the towel because President Trump just, outdid him on policy, outdid him on facts the whole time. He was people are saying you look presidential. Democrats, it's 130 days to go, and Democrats are stuck because Joe Biden, those Democrat delegates are committed to Joe Biden. And how do you tell Joe Biden to step aside and not tell Kamala Harris she's going to be the nominee? I mean, if they invoke the 25th Amendment against Joe Biden, she's the president.
Right. So so what happens now, John McLaughlin? Because I just said also what on one of the networks is quoting a Democratic operative saying it's hard to argue Biden should be our nominee. So what happens now? What do you think?
Unless Biden lets go on his own, which he may not do because there's so many corruption problems. It's not just Hunter, it's the whole family, including him. Unless he steps aside voluntarily, they're stuck. And if I'm Kamala Harris, why does, she's hanging in there because, by the way, I always thought he picked her because she's like impeachment insurance, because no one wants her to be president.
Right.
So now you're like, for the Democrat Party, it's like, how do you get him to step aside? Particularly when when President Trump said to him, because Biden was really nasty and, he came across as angry, nasty self when he wasn't confused. But he called Trump a convicted felon, and sure, there was a rigged trial that Biden put together.
And by the way, I thought that was one of President Trump's great moments where he kept repeating. He stayed on message, I thought, had very good discipline. He said, I'm in this position because of you, because I'm your leading political opponent. You put me in this position. You did this. You're the ones who's pushing the judges, pushing the prosecutors. I also thought on border, he was so strong too, didn't you? Where he kept going back to, part of the costs of migration, the crime, obviously, but also the monetary. And Joe Biden didn't have a single answer when it came to the border. He actually said at one point how great of a job he's doing since he issued this executive order. And I'm thinking, where have you been for the last 3.5 years? And what he's done is a drop in the bucket. It's a joke.
Yes, and he said things that aren't true. Like he said, the Border Patrol endorsed him. The Border Patrol put out a statement during the debate that they haven't endorsed anybody. It's like so it's I don't know. He just anybody who watched it realizes that Joe Biden isn't telling the truth, and he's trying to deceive them about things that they know are true. Where, like I said, in our poll, 61 to 34, they say the economy's getting worse, not better, and 68% say the country's on the wrong track, and 57% disapprove of Biden. So, Trump's ahead, but there's undecided voters we got to go get. There's already like 4 or 5% of the total electorate voted for Biden in 2020 has switched to Trump.
Well, I think you're going to get more after tonight. I'm telling you, John, after tonight, if I'm an independent voter and if they had any reservations about Trump, he was, I thought, very controlled, very presidential. It was a very sort of measured President Trump. And I think he certainly will gain a lot of points after tonight. Is there any expectation of what you think we'll see in some of the new polls post-debate?
Well, I don't want to, by the way, I love to poll, but it started at 10 o'clock and it ended at 10:30 Eastern time. So you really can't poll in the United States tonight, but there'll probably be some polls over the weekend. And, going into July 4th, we'll see some polls, but we'll gain a little, but we're already ahead. But there's still a Democrat core that likes open borders, that likes higher taxes. I mean, what's amazing, Biden was several times talking about raising taxes, which he'll raise taxes on 91% of Americans. And the last Democrat who did that was Walter Mondale, and it didn't work out well for him at all.
Right. It'll crush the economy.
Yeah. So our friend Larry Kudlow will tell you that if you let that tax cut go, if Biden gets his wish, we'll be in a recession. But Americans are too smart for that. People are upset. People are angry. And the way to channel the anger is to get involved and vote for President Trump and to, make sure that we can win this election because we still have 130 days to go. So right now, Biden's the nominee. We're getting ready to beat Joe Biden. He didn't do well tonight. President Trump did extremely well, and he's just determined to win this election to get the country back on the right track, and even end the challenges of trying to end the war in Ukraine, trying to keep the Middle East safe again, keep Israel safe, put the terrorists like in Iran back in their place. I mean, it's a challenge, but he's up to the challenge. He wants to do it.
Yeah, we need a warrior. We need a leader. And boy, I thought President Trump was very clear and crisp and presidential. And right now the world's in chaos. You need somebody to clean it up. And boy, with his background, to me, there's no doubt tonight he won. And that's the kind of person we need right now in the United States, back in the Oval Office. John McLaughlin, we love you. I'm so glad that you called in. It means so much. Thank you, John, in the middle of a big, busy news night, the pollster there for President Trump.
Well, you're doing a great job tonight, and I'm sure we'll be speaking again very, very soon.
Good.
We still have a long way to go. We got to run the Trump campaign. We still have to run like we're behind, because the Democrats, they'll never give up until we get every vote counted and get all our votes in the ballot box and make sure we won.
And still, it's the race to November now. Thank you very much, John. We appreciate it. Good luck. And tell the president I said bravo.
I will. Thank you, Rita.
Thank you very much. The great John McLaughlin, pollster for President Trump.